Okay, Gopi is joining us. Gopi, we were just speaking to Farhan, who is the CEO of the MIMS hospital. There are about half a dozen hospitals. Most of the injuries seem to be nature of fractures, orthopedic injuries. Did the plane catch fire at all? What were you told by the police and the people you've been speaking to, or did it just split into two parts?
Well, Rajdeep, just now I was actually speaking to one person who was coordinating the rescue. His house was hardly some 200 meters from
that they heard of course with getting that connection to Gopi. Remember, it's raining still very heavily at this moment there in Kerala, and that makes it difficult both for us to as reporters as also in a sense because of the technical issues that are involved. But those were the images I showed you a little while ago of the NDRF and other security personnel looking through the debris to ensure that no bodies were still left trapped or burnt in any manner. We're told all 189 people who were inside the aircraft have been pulled out. There are 7 crew members as well. Yes, Gopi, go ahead. We were talking about what eyewitnesses told you happened. What did they see?
Well, Rajdeep, yes, that person was actually among the first batch of people who reached over here, and they actually heard a loud noise, and all of them came running over here, and they actually saw this aircraft split into two halves, and that was lying some 50 meters in the valley just inside the airport compound. And these people, they were initially shocked. They just tried and went inside. They just tried to enter the aircraft from whatever opening that was available over there. Because the aircraft was split in half, they directly entered, is what this person has told me. And after entering, they tried to rescue maximum people as possible. So most of these people who are actually suffered severe injuries, it seems they were the people who were sitting towards the front end of the aircraft. And also this person told me the cockpit was completely damaged. It was difficult for them to even reach the cockpit area of the aircraft.
Gopi, I can see that you're, through this pouring rain, giving us more and more details of what has been happening there in Kerala. Appreciate your joining us and giving us those details. We keep coming back to you, Gopi. Yeah. Apart from that, I just want to understand from you how far are some of these hospitals from the airport? 20 to 25 kilometers is what some people are telling me. So it would have taken about 20 to 30 minutes to get people from the airport to the hospital.
Well, of course, Raj. Most of these hospitals, be it in Malappuram town or in Calicut town, these towns are actually roughly around some 20-30 kilometer range from the airport, and that is what made the rescue efforts really easy. And they were actually able to take people to the nearby hospital as early as possible. And also these hospitals, in Malappuram or in Kozhikode, there are actually a lot of care and other relevant facilities to treat people of this nature. And just coming back to the point that you were making, most of these people where I have actually sustained orthopedic injuries with broken arms and legs and bones, and that is actually because of the impact of this accident. If you can just tune into my frame, that is actually the whole aircraft that you can see behind me, and there is this green and grassy path behind that. And because it's night, I'm not really able to show you clearly the depth of that area. The aircraft has come down, all down across into the valley, and it seems it has slided down, and it has actually just jumped.
Can you ask your cameraman to focus on you for a moment? I want to show our viewers what it takes for a reporter who's rushed to the spot. He's been covering in the morning the floods in Wayanad. You've now moved to this area. If you can just ask your cameraman to just focus on you, as we can see the... I want people to realize that the difficulties that are involved in reporting in a situation like this amidst pouring rain. Can we have a look at you, Gopi?
Of course, Rajdeep. Now I will just show you this ambulance which is coming out from that accident spot, and we have been told that there is anybody who is left behind in that spot. So we are not assuming that it could be anybody injured, and it must have been just a routine procedure. Now I'll just ask my camera person to just show me. So this is where I am. Right behind me, we have this aircraft which has landed, and as you can see already, it's been pouring down since the whole morning. In the morning, we were in Wayanad. We were actually trying to cover the floods in Wayanad, the landslides that happened over there. And as we were moving to Munnar is when we came to know about this accident, this tragic accident. So we just quickly changed course and we came over here. It continues to pour down over here, and that area has now been cordoned off. There is actually a gate that is separating the main road from the airport compound. So people are not allowed to go beyond that cordoned off area. Only officials, including the CISF, are actually allowed into that area. But nevertheless, the rescue efforts and the tracing efforts have completed, and now a local MLA has come here, and we are expecting more people's representatives, including the MPs and other people, to maybe visit this site very shortly.
You know, Gopi, as I said, I wanted to tell our viewers, this morning I saw you in Wayanad, you were in flooded waters. How did you get from Wayanad to Kozhikode? You must have driven through pouring rain the moment you found out that one moment it's flooded in Wayanad, there's a landslide in Munnar, next moment you're in Calicut, all in a day of a 24/7 reporter, right?
Absolutely, Rasti, because that is what it takes to be a reporter on the ground, and most of these reporters actually enjoy doing that. So in the morning, I was actually in Wayanad. We were covering the flood situation in most parts of Wayanad district, and after that, around 11:30, we came to know about this accident, about this landslide in Munnar. So we just quickly decided that we will go over there. It was almost some 350 kilometers journey, and remember, we almost covered 150 about this accident over here. So again, we had to change course.
I want to go to Wing Commander Anil Goyal for a moment. We're losing your audio, but great work, Gopi. But, you know, as always, the reporter can't be the story. The story is what's happening on ground zero. Wing Commander Anil Goyal, your sense, now that you're hearing different views of what could have happened, the fact that the plane broke into two parts, reports that the weather was terrible, it was raining on the ground. Your sense, sir?
Rajdeep, as you know, during this monsoon time, the Western Ghats are pretty nasty area to fly into because of the incessant rain and gusty windy conditions. Kozhikode Airport, as has already been covered, is a tabletop airfield with a deep gorge at the end of both the runways, and it's a little shorter runway. The weather has been inclement, and I believe that the pilots must have done their best, which I'll come to a little later, and I believe that the airport must be in the best of the conditions. However, because of the rains, the braking, as we all know, gets affected because of the flooding, because of some tire deposits on the runway. But the most remarkable thing that comes to my notice today is that the aircraft, after it has dropped deep into the gorge, has not caught fire. That means the pilots, having realized that they are likely to overshoot the runway, have taken a prompt action of switching off both the engines and continuing to do their best in the cockpit and the available resources to them.
That's right.
And having said that, they have gone into the deep gorge, and because the engines were shut down, there has been no fire. Otherwise, the number of casualties that we would have seen would have been much, much larger. I do not want to go into the details because of the incident, why it has happened, because we don't know the exact details. But I am sure all airlines and all pilots are made aware, it's part of the routine, made aware of the monsoon conditions, and there are special classes being conducted. The pilots are specially briefed about the weather and the hazards that are associated with monsoon condition. So I think they are experienced pilots. They have done their job at the best capabilities.
Let me stop you for a moment, Wing Commander. Let me stop you. As you said, the pilots have done a remarkable job, in a sense, to try and ensure that the casualties were kept down to the minimum. I think that's something to recognize. Gopi, at the moment you mentioned there was an ambulance at the airport. Who is there still at the airport? Is it the NDRF, the police? Who are the people that are around you at the airport at this late hour?
Well, Rajdeep, we do not really see any signs of the NDRF over here. So to just give you a perspective of what you're actually seeing in this visual, this is actually the exact spot where this accident has happened. You can see the remains of that flight, which is broken in two halves, and around you are actually seeing the local police, which is actually coordinating all those tracing activities over here. And alongside them, you have the local fire force, which is part of the district administration. And also there is an additional fire unit, which is assigned to each airport. So that actually comes under the Airports Authority of India. And the CISF, which is actually looking after the security aspect of the airport, is guarding that particular gate over there. And there are also some senior CISF officials. And we have been told there are senior Airports Authority of India officials inside who are just assessing the situation, who are just trying to better understand what has happened. Also, I'll just take you through these visuals that you actually see here. You can see that the emergency doors have been opened. So that is exactly almost similar to what this person who was actually coordinating this relief, this rescue, has told me. Initially, when the flight just came over here, initially when they saw this, the emergency doors were not really open. They had to actually enter the aircraft to that cavity that you see. That is where the aircraft broke into two halves, and people just directly walked inside the aircraft and try and pulled out as many people as they can. So as they were getting into the back end of the aircraft, it became very difficult for these people to pull these people out or just take them all across the aisle of the aircraft. So that is when the emergency door was opened, and that was used to pull these people out. And according to the information that we have from the local administration, people who had sustained injury were actually people who were mostly sitting towards the front end, relatively in the first 10 or 12 rows, because that is where the most of the damage has happened. You can also see, though it has split in half, there is another portion which is almost falling apart. You can actually see that actually comes almost towards that emergency exit. So those areas and seats have been completely damaged, and people who were actually sitting there could have actually sustained very serious orthopedic issues and injuries as well. Rajdeep.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.